This
Sorry.
conference will now be recorded.
All right. Moving
I
on.
just got told it can be recorded.
There we go. All right, Carl. All right, we're going to go ahead and take the roll now. Mrs. Anderson. Councilmember Rounds. Councilmember Plaza. Councilmember Holland.
Present.
Councilmember Graham.
Here.
Councilmember Chapman.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Councilmember Smith.
Here.
All right. Carol, I know you're with us. I just need you to unmute your screen there when it comes time for a vote. And Mr. Jackson's also on the line. So we've got I've got 5. It appears that we've got 2 absent. I'm not sure who the operator is. So at this time, I'll take Mr. Fredericks did call in this evening with illness. I'll take a motion to excuse him.
I make a motion to excuse Mr. Fredericks.
Second.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Round, seconded by Councilmember Smith. Will you please take the roll? Councilmember Holland.
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds.
Aye.
Councilmember Graham.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman.
Aye.
All right. And it appears Mr. Plaza has joined us. He is here.
I'm here.
Yeah. Oh, okay. When we get down to do that now, or agenda approval, okay. Okay. Gotcha. That'd be perfect. All right. Right now, I've got a proclamation. Looks like Miss Coleman is with us. Welcome. Thank you for being on time as always.
Thank you, Mayor. You're welcome.
Arbor Day 2020, whereas Arbor Day was first observed in 1872 with the planting of more than 1 million trees in the state of Nebraska, and whereas Washington, the evergreen state, has celebrated Arbor Day since 1917, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and world, and whereas the city of Woodland is designated as Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation, and whereas trees clean the air and water, produce oxygen, reduce stormwater runoff, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, reduce erosion and compaction of our precious topsoil from water and wind, beautify our neighborhoods, reduce stress, and provide food and habitat for wildlife. And whereas now, therefore, I, William A. Finn, do hereby recognize the month of April as Arbor Month and Arbor Day Month, and May 22nd as Arbor Day 2020 in the city of Woodland, and urge all citizens to support, to protect our trees and natural areas for the well-being of present and future generations. And I call this observance to the attention of all our citizens, dated this 20th day of April 2020. So we have, although April is Arbor Day month, we are pushing our official celebration to May just due to the situation at hand. And Ms. Coleman, just for the record, Mr. Goddard's in the gallery. All right. Moving on to citizen communications for items not on the agenda. I know it appears we've got one caller that is with us. If you'd like to unmute and let us know. Oh, and we're also on, or do I need to read that top piece there? There's nobody. That's, okay. We do have, due to the COVID-19 emergency declaration, the council will be meeting remotely, obviously. Please see the link and how to join at the end of the agenda that's posted online. Citizens may access and join the meeting, or if they wish to provide a citizen comment or watch the meeting at www.ci.woodland.wa.us under the Civic Web portal. If there's any citizens that are online, now's your opportunity to unmute yourself and speak to council of items of concern. All right, not hearing any, and Mrs. Rip does not have any feedback either via, what was that, messaging? OpenGov. All right, moving on to agenda approval. Before we start that, I would ask that council would make a motion to keep things easier for the action items and for consent items to suspend the rules for a full roll call and just go to, what's it called? Ayes and nays. Ayes and nays. So at this point, we're at agenda approval.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Rounds, seconded by Councilmember, was that Smith?
Yes.
Okay. And is there also a motion with that for the ayes and nays instead of a full roll call?
Yes.
Waive the roll call.
Aye.
Yes, I'm hearing a yes.
Aye.
Aye.
That was an aye. All right.
Aye.
Will the clerk please, all in favor of approving the agenda with the waiver of full roll call, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Moving on to reports of city council. Nobody's been anywhere. You shouldn't have one. Unless you do.
I've been to the backyard watching the garden grow. How's that work? That's as much entertainment and social stuff.
All right, we've got reports of standing committee. We've got public works.
I will defer to one of my colleagues. I had an appointment and didn't make it back in time, so I think Monty's maybe gonna report.
Okay. All right, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, I'll report. We met today, what was it, April 20th at 5:30 on Zoom meetings. And some of the things we discussed, the filter restoration project awarded to Stellar J, they agreed to hold off until later in the year due to COVID-19. And I think she said that they agreed to keep the price the same as the original, even though they're holding off. She said we're up to date on the cross connection inspections. There have been some requests from citizens to waive the backflow test, and I don't think that's happening. This is a critical component of protecting our water supplies, so that still needs to be done. Sewer, there's a dip in the road on Washington Street. It's being watched, and they will open it up in the summertime due to high water tables. If it becomes a safety issue, they're going to open it up sooner, but they want to wait until the water tables start to drop to do it. Streets, the weeding downtown and the flower beds has started, and it'll go through May 1st. No parking signs were installed on 5th Street, Fraser Lane, Gun Club, and Hillshire. Sounds like they put them on Hillshire for some safety reasons, for kids running out between the cars. I think they did it closer to the entrances and exits of some of the buildings there. Sounds like they started right-of-way mowing. The parks, it sounds like Horseshoe Lake gazebo was vandalized and needs to be repaired now. And they have not had the work crews to help out for cleaning the city because of COVID. And then one thing that
Or at least.
Miss Holland or Councilmember Holland brought up is say thank you for the public works crew and how good they're doing. And I would second that. They're doing an excellent job, and so thank you. That's all I got. Can you hear me?
How
Mr.
you doing,
Mayor,
Bonnie?
Yes.
The mayor needs to unmute himself.
Okay, sorry, we had technical difficulties. I lost all of you for a moment, and I was muted, and I couldn't get back to you. So we were panicking a little bit. Sorry. Thank you for that riveting report, Mr. Smith.
Wow, real quiet.
Woo! Okay. Public safety. Our questions for Mr. Smith. How about that?
That probably would be me. We haven't had any meetings. We were supposed to have a meeting this afternoon, and the chief had reached out to us, committee members, and I had one question I wanted to ask him, and that was answered. So other than that, apparently there was really not much business. There wasn't any business to be discussed at this time. So our next meeting is scheduled for the 18th of May at 5:30.
Okay, and is that scheduled as a Zoom meeting at this point?
I don't know for sure.
Okay, sounds good. Hopefully we'll have some more direction by end of next week. And do you have anything for chamber?
Just that we're still connected. You know, the office is closed, but Denise is still taking the calls that come in. So, and then trying to keep updated on our Facebook page with any information that comes through that will be beneficial to our community and our business members. And we did have a board meeting the other day, and kind of tossing around and discussing what can we do or what we need to do for our business community if and when we ever get to be unquarantined, of how we can show them how to support themselves. For myself, it was a very good meeting to get connected back with my board and get an understanding of how some of their businesses are going that are open. And one of the things that was said by Mr. Luckman, that the community is out there supporting the businesses as best that they can. And they seem, the businesses themselves, you know, are working together. And I have to really commend our businesses for going through what they have to go through right now, how they have had to make their changes and keeping open and trying to keep some kind of income and support and things going on in our city. I told them I understand, but I am not had to ever do that with my business, and it was a nice aspect for me to get that feedback back from a business owner that is in business now and how they really are doing. So they're doing the best they can. So we will celebrate them when this is over with, because that's what our purpose is this year, is to celebrate our businesses in our community.
Are you guys still having conversation? Obviously, is it just the board members getting together, or are you having meetings with the business community in this type of fashion or conference call or anything like that?
No, we haven't done that with the businesses yet.
Okay.
So it's just,
okay.
You know, just to encourage them, and then with Denise putting out the notices and whatnot, if they have anything that they need posted or help with, or what to find, and with all the loans and taxes and everything that's going on with everything, she's putting out the information as best she can.
Okay. Okay.
Trying to keep on top of it all.
Yeah. Next Monday, maybe it might be a good idea that we have a meeting like this with me, and we can all check in together and see where everybody is. How do you feel?
Okay.
Talk to you. I can reach out to Mrs. Miller and
yes,
set something up.
Okay.
Does that work, you think?
It should. I don't see why it wouldn't.
Okay. I'd like to check in with everybody and see. I know it's a difficult time, but maybe we can do something similar to this and maybe just check in and see where everybody's at.
Okay.
Okay. I'll give her a call.
Good, Will. Thank you.
You bet. Any questions for Mrs. Graham? Okay. Moving on to reports, limited this evening, myself and Mr. Boyce. We at the city here are just functioning the best we can, still attending multiple conference calls a day and throughout the week. Our Emergency Operations Center in Cowlitz County is still operational. We were trying to do a demobilization. As some of you may know, I'm part of the communications team with the emergency response up there. We were supposed to go completely virtual today, but it sounds like well, I'll be up there tomorrow. We've got some things that are happening at the county level that it appears that we might have some additional, well, last Friday we had 3 additional cases that were positive, with one of those cases being hospitalized over in Oregon and in ICU. All 3 were related in employment. And then today we had 4 more come through that were positive. I'm not sure the condition, but it is believed that at least 2 of those are related to the 3 from Friday. So it appears that something may be changing and we're not going virtual at this point. So biggest message, of course, is continue to stay quarantined, follow the orders, and only travel if necessary, and only for essential grocery store, doctor's appointments, those types of things, and wear a mask. Take care of yourself the best that you can. City seems to be doing well. I would say that we're doing really well with employees working from home and staying connected and making sure that we're having conversations. We had an exec team meeting today. It was our second one, our third, was this our third one? Our second one. Our third meeting in this type of exercise fashion, whatever you want to call it, video wise. It seems to be working well. We're still getting things done. We're still having conversations and making sure that the citizens are being taken care of, the city's being taken care of. Right now, I think we're in some pretty good hands. I think we're doing well. With that said, there's some conversation and some starting to get some complaints coming through about some items within the city. One thing would be weeding. Some things that appears that they're not being taken care of. So I know this is being recorded. I don't know how many community members we have on here, but it should be noted that we are working with limited staff due to the fact that our volunteers, our jail crew, anyone that normally helps us out with taking care of the roundabout on Lewis River Road, the flower beds in downtown. Ms. Coleman, maybe you can jump in and kind of explain a little bit some of the other things that are being missed that folks should be patient with when it comes to a little bit of understanding, because we do have limited staff on our end that we've been working with, and all these volunteers. I think it's recognized how much we actually get some outside help on a daily and weekly basis.
Sure, Mayor. Basically, the jail crew, as you've already stated, the jail crew, we no longer have access to the jail crew. We no longer have access to our community volunteers. We do not have access to our high school seniors where they have senior projects to be done, so they help us out around town. We don't have access to our church volunteers. We don't have access to those who have to put in community hours because of social distancing. So there's 5 different groups that I've mentioned right there that normally help us out with weeding and garbage pickup and so on and so forth. So just be aware that most of the time I have the guys out there and they're perusing, for the graffiti and painting over or removing graffiti around town, as we have other people out there weeding flower beds and picking up garbage along Atlantic and Pacific, picking up signs that are not authorized to be throughout our city. And so we're really slow in that right now just because of the fact that we don't have that extra help. So while our guys are out there, we finally were able to get some mix, some concrete mix, some asphalt mix from the plant. That's been hard to get. Now we'll be able to go out and fix some potholes and stuff. I'm trying to keep the guys focused on streets, water, and sewer to keep our city running. So some of the other areas will fall a little behind. I think we have our parks pretty much caught up. But in the interim, just remember that weeding the flower beds and picking up garbage and picking up unauthorized signs throughout the city will come last as we try to take care of the other components of the city right now with limited staffing functions.
Thank you. With all that said, our main concern right now is making sure that our employees stay healthy and safe, especially those that are operating the sewer, wastewater treatment facility and the water treatment facility. So those are top priority. And that's why, for those of you that don't know, one project that was supposed to be done at the water treatment facility has been put on hold to eliminate. Is that Clark? What's going on back there?
Hey, I don't like this invasion of my home.
Sorry, you got people walking behind you.
No, it's a
Try
little
to
child.
making sure that any folks that don't belong in any of the facilities are staying away, so the virus potential spread of the virus isn't contracted by our employees. So once we get off this lift, then we'll be able to get some of those projects done. With that, Mr. Boyce, I'm going to kick it to you.
Okay, you handled nicely most of the COVID-19 stuff. Just wanted to mention I participated in a webinar last week, and there's going to be one every Wednesday with, it's put on by MRSC and the Washington City Managers Association. And all the entities are trying to determine how to forecast what's going to happen with revenue moving forward. And so we're taking this seriously. We had a individual on from King County who's a economist who, you know, the big problem with this whole thing is no one knows how long it's going to last, and the big effect is going to be on sales tax at this point. So we're all trying to work through this, and we're going to be watching budgets closely. The mayor's already asked department directors and executive staff to watch purchases and try to, you know, be as conservative as possible. So anyway, going forward, we'll be watching that closely, just for everyone's understanding. The only other thing we have is the community events, and as we know with what's going on, those can be tentative. We talked today about the Kids Fishing Derby that's scheduled for May 15th and 16th at Horseshoe Lake. That may or may not happen depending on what happens with the governor's order. And we also had the VFW Memorial Day ceremony on May 25th. So again, we'll be watching what happens at the state level and the county level, public health wise, and continue to make decisions on events as that time gets closer. That's all I had this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Boyce. And just to kind of jump into what Mr. Boyce had said, I had a phone conference yesterday with the Clark County mayors. We are truly all in this together. There's a lot of concerns. We connected yesterday for about 45 minutes to discuss some of the procedures and things that Richfield's doing, La Center's doing, what Woodland is doing, what City of Vancouver is doing, and trying to align ourselves to make sure that we're attempting to be consistent across the region. But obviously, you know, when you've got different leadership styles or different thought processes, of course, there's going to be some differences that are in there. But I think that we're all on the same page when it comes to trying to be conservative at this point with our spending and making sure that we're able to function as we move forward here, because we don't know what the outcome is going to be. With that said, Mayor Ann out of Vancouver had suggested that we start developing plans on resources to be shared throughout the region, just due to the fact that if we're not purchasing anything and we're trying to be conservative, let's use what we have from our neighbors when possible to maybe cut down on some of those costs. So you may be seeing some MOUs or things coming forward in the future. So just keep in mind, we're all trying to help each other out and do a whole community approach here. So I'll stay connected with them. We're going to have those conversations twice a month and just check in with each other, make sure that we're all doing okay, and what changes we forecast coming, and some of the things that we may have to deal with in the future. So questions for myself or Mr. Boyce? All right, seeing none, moving on to consent items.
I make a motion to approve the consent items.
Second.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Round, seconded by Councilmember Smith. All in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to action items. Action item D, authorize mayor to sign contract with Frank Randolph for city attorney services.
Move to approve action item D.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Plaza, seconded by Councilmember Smith. Councilmember Plaza.
No comment.
Councilmember Smith.
I'm not sure why he left, or he retired, right? Is that what it was? Retired from them and
He
is still
did,
going to keep going?
and he's going to keep going. Yes.
Okay. He does a good job for us, and I think it's a good thing to keep him on.
Further discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor of approving action item I, say aye. Or I'm sorry, action item D, say aye.
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 Any nays? Looks like the ayes have it. Moving on to action item E, authorize mayor to sign submittal for AARP Community Challenge Grant.
I'll make a motion for the action item. Which one was it?
E is in Edward.
E, for the mayor to go for the AARP.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councilmember Rounds, second by Councilmember Graham. Councilmember Rounds.
If we can get some money out there to help us out, I think it's a good thing.
Councilmember Graham.
Oh, the same idea, thought.
Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of action item E, authorize mayor to sign submittal for AARP Community Challenge Grant, say aye.
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 Any nays? The ayes have it. Moving on to action item F, utility relief plan, authorize staff to further extend waiver of late charges, payment arrangements, and online fees through disaster period per state of Washington emergency declaration for COVID-19. Also authorize clerk treasurer to proceed with lien proceedings if bills are 2 billing cycles or 4 months in arrears and no payment arrangements are made or fulfilled.
I make a motion to approve action item F.
Second.
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Rounds, seconded by Councilmember Chapman. Councilmember Rounds.
And no comment. I think it's a good thing to do in these times.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yeah, we discussed it before, and I think it's a good plan moving forward.
Further discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor of action item F, utility relief plan, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the ayes have it. That brings us to adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
By Councilmember Rounds, second by Councilmember Smith. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone say
Aye.
no? All right, the ayes have it. It is 7:30 on the dot. All right, good job,
Is
everybody.
that a
Thank
meeting
you very
record?
much. What's that, Carl?
Is that a meeting record, 30 minutes?
No, we've had 18 before. I think there's one before me too that had better, maybe 12. All right, you
We'll
guys
have to
stay,
work on that, guys. Come on.
you guys stay safe. Thank you. I know that this can be challenging to meet like this, but it's necessary to make sure we all stay safe. So don't hesitate to reach out or call or ask any questions, and I will get with Ms. Miller and set up a time for a meeting with the business chamber for Monday.
Okay.
All
All
right,
right.
thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night,
Yep.
everybody.
Aye.
Stay safe.
Good night.
All right, do I just click out? Oh, I got to stop recording.
Hi, Tracy.